Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and this is my first impressions look on the Jordan Zion 2. So this is Zion Williamson's second signature shoe with Jordan brand, and it's going for 120 bucks, so they did not increase the price, which is a good thing. The Voodoo colorway was going for 140 bucks, $20 more than retail price, which is kind of weird. But anyways, if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave an affiliate link in the description box. But let's get it started off with the Tracciones. As far as the traction pattern goes, we have a Zion. I believe this is the Zion logo. And it's in pink in this colorway. And by the way, this is the Hope Diamond color, which is actually very, very cool. But so yeah, so here in the forefoot, it says Zion, and we have some herringbone kind of like surrounding it. And same thing here in the heel with a little Jumpman logo here in the heel as well. And I guess it is kind of decoupled. This is the smallest decoupling of an outsole that I've ever seen. But as far as the traction goes, it feels really good so far. Like on my wood floors, the stop seems actually very, very good, but the squeak is not too loud. We'll have to see on that though. Hopefully when I break it in, it starts to squeak a little bit louder. Of course, squeak has nothing to do with performance, but you know, I like to have a little bit of a squeak here and there, you know what I mean? Or especially like a loud one, just in my personal opinion. But anyways, it's not super loud right now on my wood floors, right? As far as the durability goes, durability seems like it's gonna be kinda not good, honestly, right? There's not a whole lot of surface area where the Zion logo is, right? And also the rubber is quite thin where like the white rubber outsole is. So I don't think durability is going to be the best on an outdoor court, which kind of does suck. So there's that. Moving on to the heel to toe transition. So it actually feels overall kind of smooth, right? In my like initial thoughts of, you know, when the Zion 2 did leak, I usually don't really like when companies do this, when they cage the entire back of the heel, just in my personal opinion. I mean, there are people, of course, that don't really mind it all too much, but for me, when I'm doing heel dominant strides, I like to feel a little bit of compression here in the back of the heel just to make it overall a little bit smoother, right? But of course, because of this rubber outsole coming out to cage the heel, all of this right here, it's not going to allow the cushion to compress that much, but I mean, it's not that big of a deal because we do have like an overall pretty rounded shape here in the heel. And we'll get into the air strobel unit, but that does feel very, very nice. And then here in the forefoot, it does have a pretty nice curved shape, nothing too crazy. And we have a good amount of forefoot flex. Look at that. This shoe looks super bulky and like very stiff just by looking at it, but it's actually quite soft. Look at that. There's a good amount of flex here in the forefoot, which I like. So overall, heel to toe transition feels pretty damn nice so far. It just feels just a tiny bit clunky here in the heel. But now moving on to the cushioning setup, which is my favorite part about this shoe. So we have a targeted air strobel unit, which is very, very nice. I really, really like it. It's very similar to like a Zoom strobel unit in the forefoot found in like the Kyrie Infinity or the Zoom GT Run, right? But they're doing it with air strobel, and they're doing it in the heel for the Zion 2. So if you lift up the insole, you can actually see the air strobel unit in the heel, which is very, very nice. It actually extends pretty far into the midfoot, but that actually feels really, really nice for underfoot cushioning. I absolutely love air strobel units, and some people think it's a little too much, and some people think it's a little too soft and it doesn't feel great for responsiveness. But for me, in my personal opinion, it feels really, really nice. I don't feel too slow or anything. It improves the stepping comfort a lot too. So that's just in the heel, right? It feels really, really nice in the heel. And also this foam is actually quite soft. There is a good amount of compression from like the sides here. Of course, not in the back of the heel, but more on the sides where the actual foam is exposed. So coupling that like pretty nice heel compression with the air strobel unit in the heel feels very, very nice for the cushion in the heel. I really like how it feels so far. I just wish they wouldn't have caged it as much, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. And then in the forefoot, we have a Zoom unit. As you guys can see, it's a Zoom Air on the strap right here. And the Zoom unit feels really, really bouncy. You can definitely feel it. It feels like it's top loaded, and it's like right where like your toes begin. You know what I mean? Like right there. And also court feel seems really good as well. So great court feel. You got the nice zoom in the forefoot, which feels bouncy. You got the air strobel unit in the heel, and impact protection, especially on heel strikes, but also on like like striking your forefoot, feels like it's gonna be great. You got that nice bounce, feels very responsive too. So the cushioning setup, I'm very surprised. It feels really good so far. All right, moving on to the material. So they took it back to the old school, right? So when you look at this, it looks like an old school shoe, a shoe from like the 80s or the 90s. And I actually kind of like the aesthetic. You know, this shoe definitely did grow on me. Here in the forefoot though, we do have mesh, right? Mesh of course is more of like a new school type of material. And this mesh is actually very thin. It conforms to your foot very well. And we do have like a rubberized type of fused material at the edge of the toe box for extra durability, which of course is a good thing. So I really like how it feels here in the forefoot. You don't really need all too much support or anything. I just like a soft material in the forefoot, just in my personal opinion. And of course, here in the forefoot, we have a strap. It is a one-way strap, however, so I'm not a huge fan of it. It doesn't really improve lockdown that much, but of course, I feel like it'll definitely help with support, especially on lateral containment, which we'll get into. And then in the rest of the shoe, we have like a synthetic material. Right? It's like a synthetic leather, and there are some perforations in the material as well. And then here in the ankle area and also in the back of the shoe, we have like it's kind of like a shinier leather material, right? And then for the padding in the tongue, we have, I would say like an average amount of padding. It's a very large tongue and also an independent tongue. So I mean, most modern shoes have like a half booty construction tongue, which does, you know, keep the tongue in place and give you a better overall one-to-one fit, which I do prefer over independent tongues. But I don't think it's going to be a huge issue in the Zion 2, just because the laces do go through the tongue right here, as you guys can see, with the Zion logo right here. So that'll keep the tongue in place. So there's that. And then here in the ankle area, we actually have some nice ass Achilles pillows, and you can really feel it. It's not the softest foam, it's not like a memory foam, right, in like some other shoes, but it is large, and you can definitely feel it kind of like locking your heel down, and it definitely does improve the heel lockdown, it feels like so far. So the materials are nice. I mean, I guess if you're looking for really nice high quality materials, especially for like the old school leather type of materials, this is not the best option. But of course, the price is 120 bucks, so you can't really complain. But I mean, it feels really nice on foot so far. It doesn't feel like super bulky or anything. It definitely doesn't feel super minimal though. I mean, you have a good amount of layers, especially with the strap and stuff, but this mesh is overall pretty damn thin. The midfoot also is pretty damn thin, right? And then there's pretty minimal padding for the tongue, and then the Achilles pads feel nice. So I was very surprised. You know, it doesn't feel as bulky as it looks, and it feels very nice and supportive on foot right now. And now moving on to the fit, I went true to size, and it fits me very well, right? My toes do go really close to the edge of the shoe, right? And hopefully my toes don't bang the edge of the shoe when I do hard stops. We'll have to see when I actually play in the shoe. But it is very close, right? So if you don't like that, maybe I would suggest going up half a size. But if you do like a snug fit lengthwise, you should be fine going true to size. Also here in the toe box, it's a little snug. I wouldn't say it's super snug to the point where like I can't even curl my toes up. I can curl my toes up just a tiny bit, and also I feel like this mesh material will stretch out a little bit once I break it in. So it's not too bad there. And then for the width, I would say it is slightly narrow. I could definitely feel this part, like, you know, the strap is kind of squeezing the lateral side of my foot just a tiny bit, right? It's nothing too crazy, it's not too tight or anything, it's not uncomfortable, it's just squeezing it a little bit. So if you have a wide foot, I would suggest going up half a size as well. All right, moving on to the support and lockdown. I mean, it is a Zion shoe. Remember the PG 2.5 fiasco? Remember when he ripped through that shoe? So yeah, Zion is a huge dude. He's a very big guy. So support is very important. It's imperative that he has good support in his signature shoe, right? So I mean, yeah, if you look at it, they're using old school materials, which is a good thing. Old school materials are very supportive and durable. I guess besides the mesh here in the forefoot, but you don't really need a whole lot of support from this material for lateral containment, right? So for lateral containment here in the forefoot, we have like this synthetic material coming up. You know, it's a part of the strap as well. And then we have the foam coming up, or actually this isn't foam, this is rubber, and then the foam coming up here and an internal TPU heel counter. So yeah, lateral containment I feel like is going to be very, very good. And for lateral stability, I feel like it's gonna be good as well. I mean, you do have a little bit of an outrigger. It does protrude out here, right, as you guys can see. So we do have a wide base. And then for ankle support feels pretty good so far right now, actually, right? I'm not a huge fan of high tops or mid tops. I like to play in low tops, but if you want ankle support, this feels pretty good so far. And now moving on to the weight of the shoe, which is something that I'm super curious about, right? So how much do you guys think this shoe weighs, right? They actually said it's lightweight in their tech specs. I was like, no way, you know what I mean? Because it looks super heavy and bulky and clunky when you look at it, but then it feels really lightweight and the materials feel like pretty minimal on foot. Not the most minimal, but it feels pretty minimal, right? So I'm guessing like 12 ounces. Okay, no, 13.4 ounces. It's definitely heavier than average though, right? Let's check the other pair. Yeah, 13.26 ounces. So definitely not as heavy as I thought. I thought it was gonna be around like 15, 16 ounces. So 13.4 ounces around there is still really, really good. Is it light? It definitely is not. It's a little bit heavier than average. The average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. But yeah, it actually doesn't feel at all like what it looks like. You know what I mean? It feels pretty minimal, and I feel like it's gonna be a responsive shoe. You know, the cushion feels responsive with that nice compression and bounce in the forefoot. Traction feels like it's gonna be good. Materials don't feel too bulky or anything, and also the shoe doesn't feel too heavy. So right now, I really like how it feels on foot. All right, moving on to the aesthetics, I really, really like it. This colorway is awesome. This shoe looks great aesthetically. I mean, you know, basketball shoes, back then didn't look like basketball shoes. You know what I mean? You can definitely rock them casually, you know, like all the old school Jordans people now just wear casually. And I like how they're kind of taking it back to that. You know what I mean? So it definitely has that old school look, and I feel like you can definitely rock this off court and not have too many problems. Like, you know, the Zion 1, I don't think you can really, especially this colorway, you can't really rock casually. And same thing with like the Immortality 2. You know what I mean? This definitely looks like a workout shoe. And if you're going out on like a nice date or something, you definitely wouldn't wear those, right? And the Zion 2s definitely look nice. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, my first impressions of the Zion 2 are super, super good. I love how it feels so far. For me personally though, I don't think it'll be it'll compare to like the PG6 or the Kyries or the Zoom Separates, just because those are like my type of shoes. You know what I mean? Like a little bit more lightweight, you know, more minimal as far as the materials go. But I feel like the Zion 2 right now blends everything well together. You know what I mean? So it takes like all the good stuff in the guard shoe, like thinner materials and nice cushion, but also blends it well with like a big man shoe as well. Great support, good impact protection and all that. So right now I'm really, really liking how it feels so far, but of course we'll have to wait on the full performance review of that. But anyways, that about wraps it up for my first impressions of the Jordan Zion 2. And again, if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave an affiliate link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.